Good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Ahina Amelad. I'm working as an assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics, Faculty of Arts and Science, Bharat Institute of Higher Education and Research. The topic of my lecture today will be context-free grammars, and this is a topic from the course Formal Languages and Automata Theory. So this is the syllabus, and I'll be taking Unit 3 for this lecture today. So this is the full syllabus here, and these are the few textbooks and reference textbooks. So now first let me explain the definition of a context-free grammar. A context-free grammar consisting of a finite set of grammar rules is a four tuple or quadruple n, t, p, s, where n is a set of non-terminal symbols and t is a set of terminals where n intersection t is equal to null. Okay, so we don't have any common elements here. So therefore we have it is specified as null, and P is a set of rules where the production, we can also specify it as a production rule P from N to N union P the whole star. We call this as a closure. That is, the left hand side of the production P, rule P, does not have any right context or left context. So then S is the start symbol. Say for example, we consider this grammar capital A, comma B, comma C, comma P, comma A. So where the first one will be the set of non-terminal symbols, and the second set is nothing but set of terminals, and P is nothing but the set of production rules, and A is the start symbol. So here in the set of terminals, we will be only having these small alphabets. Okay, when instead of non-terminal symbols, we can have capital letters and these small letters. So the production rule will be like from capital A to A, small a, capital A, and another production rule is A to ABC. Okay, so in a similar way, the grammar S, comma A, comma B, comma A, comma B, comma P, comma S, where there is a set of production rules like S to ASA. That is, instead of S, we must substitute ASA, and another production is nothing but S to BSB. That is, again, instead of S, we have to substitute BSB and S to epsilon. Then again, another example is that the grammar S, comma F, 0, comma 1, P, comma S. So in this set of terminal symbols, we can also have numeric values 0, 1. Okay. So the production rule will be as follows: S2, 0, 0, S, and or 1, 1, F. This modulus represents, or that is, we can substitute instead of S, we can also substitute 1, 1, F, and F2, 0, 0, F or epsilon. Okay, so now let me give the definition of the generation of derivation tree. So a derivation tree or parse tree is an ordered rooted tree that graphically represents the semantic information a string derived from a context tree grammar. So this is the representation technique as follows. That is, the root vertex, it must be labeled by the start symbol, and the vertex labeled by a non-terminal symbol, and the leaves are nothing but the labels by a terminal symbol or epsilon. Okay, so as you can, the graphical representation is here given here. That is the root vertex, it has the start symbol S, and the vertices, the remaining vertices contains the non-terminal symbols, and the leaves, that is the last final vertex, we call it as a leaf. So those leaves can have the terminal symbols or the epsilon value. Okay, and the production rules can be as follows: S2, X1, X2 to Xn is the production rule in a context-free grammar. Okay, so there are two different approaches to draw a derivation tree. So one is the top-down approach, and this starts with the starting symbol S, and it goes down to the tree leaves using the production rules. And the next one is nothing but the bottom-up approach, and this starts from the tree leaves and proceeds upward to the root, which is the starting symbol S. Okay, so next will be the derivation or yield of a tree. So the derivation or the yield of a parse tree is the final string obtained by concatenating the labels of the leaves of the tree from left to right. Okay, so we have to concatenate the labels of the leaves of the tree from left to right, ignoring the null symbols. However, if all the leaves are null, then the derivation will be also be null. Say for example, let a context-free grammar NTPSP. So the set of non-terminal symbols is that capital S, and this will be the start symbol, and T is equal to A comma B. Okay, so this is the set of terminals and the starting symbol is S, and the production rule will be like S2, SS or ASB or epsilon. So one derivation from the above CFG is this. So how do we get this value? So first we give the first production rule, that is S2, SS, and for the left S, what we do is we substitute the next production rule, ASB. Okay, so we get ASBS. Okay, so then what we do is for the left hand side S, we substitute the next production rule, that is nothing but epsilon. So we get ABS. Now again for the, we remove the S symbol here. Okay, so then we have only one S left. So for that we again substitute the second production rule, that is ASB. Okay, so we get ASB, and again for the letter S we substitute ASB. So we get ASB again, and then again we substitute epsilon instead of S. So this becomes null value. So we get AB, AA, BB. So this is the one derivation from the above context-free grammar. Okay, so now this is the graphical representation of the given derivation. So first will be the root vertex S, and the left hand side S we take first production rule is SS. So that is the next step, and for the next step what we do is we substitute ASB instead of the left hand side S. So we get ASB, and again for this S we substitute epsilon. Okay, so again for the next S, what we do is we substitute ASB, and again for the S we substitute ASB, and for the final S we substitute that epsilon. So this is a graphical representation. So now we move to the leftmost and rightmost derivation of a string. So what is the leftmost derivation? So a leftmost derivation is obtained by applying the production to the leftmost variable in each step. And the rightmost derivation is nothing but it is obtained by applying the production to the rightmost variable in each step. So let us see an example here. Let any set of production rules in a context-free grammar be x2, x plus x, or x star x, or x or a over an alphabet a. So the leftmost derivation for the string a plus a star a may be. So how do we give this leftmost derivation? So we first write the production rule here, that is x2, x plus x. Then the left hand side x, what we do is we substitute a. So we get a plus x. And then what we do is for this particular value, right and left, again this will be the leftmost x. So for the leftmost x, we again substitute the second production rule, that is x star x. And for this x, we substitute a. And again for the leftmost x, we substitute a. So we get a plus a star a. So the stepwise derivation of the above string is shown as below. So in the first step, we write the first production rule x plus x, and for the leftmost x we substitute a, and then for the again for the leftmost x this will be the leftmost x. So then we substitute x star x, and for the leftmost x in the next step we substitute a, and again finally the remaining x we substitute a. So again the rightmost derivation for the above string a plus a star a may be x to x star x to x star a. So instead of the rightmost x, we substitute a, and again instead of the rightmost x, we substitute x plus x star, x plus x, and again instead of x, we substitute a, rightmost x we substitute a, and again the remaining x we substitute a. So we get a plus a star a. So this is the stepwise derivation of the above string. That is, we first specify the first production rule, that is x star x, and next for the rightmost x we substitute a, and again for the rightmost x, step 3, we get rightmost x we substitute x plus x, and in the next step for the rightmost x we substitute a, and for remaining x we substitute a. So this is the graphical representation for the above string. So now we will see a left and right recursive grammars. So in a context-free grammar G, if there is a production in the form x2 xa, where x is a non-terminal and a is a string of terminals, it is called a left recursive production. So the grammar having a left recursive production is called a left recursive grammar. And if in a context-free grammar G, if there is a production in the form x to ax, where x is a non-terminal and a is a string of terminals, it is called a right recursive production. The grammar having a right recursive production is called a right recursive grammar. So in a CFG, it may happen that all the production rules and symbols are not needed for the derivation of strings. Besides, so there may be some null productions and unit productions. So elimination of these productions and symbols is called a simplification of context-free grammars. So the simplification essentially comprises of the following steps. So first will be the reduction of context-free grammar. The next step is nothing but removal of unit productions, and the next one will be the removal of null productions. Okay, so first let me give the algorithm for the reduction of context-free grammar. Then based on this, we will see an example. So context-free grammars are reduced in two phases. The phase 1 is nothing but the derivation of an equivalent grammar G star from the CFG, from the context-free grammar G, such that each variable derives some terminal string. So the derivation procedure will be as follows. The step 1, it includes all the symbols W1 that derive some terminal and initialize the I is equal to 1. And step 2 is nothing but we include all the symbols of the terminals, that is I plus 1 that derive Wi, and step 3 is that increment I and repeat step 2 until Wi plus 1 is equal to Wi, and in step 4 we include all the production rules that have Wi in it. So this is the phase 1 procedure. And next phase 2 is nothing but the derivation of an equivalent grammar G star from the context-free grammar G dash, such that each symbol appears in a sentential form. So the derivation procedure is as follows. So in step 1, we include the star symbol in Y1 and initialize I is equal to 1. And in step 2, we include all the symbols y of I plus 1 that can be derived from yi and include all the production rules that have been applied. And in step 3, we do the increment I and repeat step 2 until yi plus 1 is equal to yi. So based on those reduction rules, we'll see this problem. So find a reduced grammar equivalent to the grammar G having the production rules P to P such that S to AC or B and A to A small a, capital C to small c or BC and capital E to AA or E small e. So phase 1 is that the terminals are T is equal to A comma C comma E. And non-terminals are W1 is equal to ACE from the rules A to A, C to C and E to AE. A. So W2 will be equal to ACE union S. S is the start symbol here. Okay, so next W3 will be equal to ACES union the null value. Okay, so since W2 is equal to W3, we can derive G dash as G dash is equal. So we are giving another grammar here G dash, that is ACES comma ACE small value terminals comma production rule P comma the start symbol S. Okay, so where this is the production rule. So phase 2 is nothing but now we go for the reduction method, that is y1 is equal to S and y2 is equal to SAC from the rule S to AC, and y3 is equal to SAC from the rules A to A and C to C, and y4 is equal to SAC. Since y3 is equal to y4, we can derive G double dash as G double dash is equal to ACS, that is the set of non-terminals, comma AC, comma P, comma S. So this is the set of production rule given here. So now we move on to the removal of unit productions. So any production rule in the form A to B, where A comma B belongs to a non-terminal, is called the unit production. So now we will see the procedure. So step 1 is nothing but to remove A to B, we add the production A to X to the grammar rule whenever B to X occurs in the grammar. So this is the step 1 here. So now in step 2 we delete A to B from the grammar. Then step 3 is that we repeat from step 1 until all the unit productions are removed. So what are the unit productions? So unit productions are nothing but if both side of the arrow marks are having non-terminal symbols, that is capital letters, then we call this as the unit production. So we have to remove this unit production from the given production rules. Okay, so we'll see a problem based on it. So remove the unit production from the following: S to XY, comma X to A, Y to Z or B, Z to M to N, comma N to A. So what are the unit productions here? Y to Z, Z to M and M to N. Since both sides of the arrow mark are having only non-terminal symbols. Okay. So at first we will remove the right hand side M to N. Okay. So as N to A, we add M to A. So okay, as we are already also having another protection rule like N to A. So instead of N, we substitute A. So we get the whole production set and M to A. So we remove M to N. Okay. So M to A, comma N to A. So now we remove Z to M. So how do we do that? So as M tends to A, we can add Z to A. So instead of M, we substitute A. So Z to M is removed. So the production set becomes as follows. So instead of M value, we are substituting A here. So now we will remove the Y to Z. So instead of Z, we have A already. So we substitute A in the place of Z. So the production set becomes S to XY, X to A, Y to A or B, Z to A, M to A and N to A. So now Z, M and N are unreachable. Hence we can remove those. So what we do is we remove all the remaining values like Z, M and N. Okay, so these three value symbols we remove. So the final context free grammar is unit production free, and we write the remaining production rules. Okay, so this is one example for removal of unit production. And next we see what is a null productions and the steps involved in the removal of null productions. So in a context free grammar, a non-terminal symbol A is a nullable variable if there is a production A to epsilon, or there is a derivation that starts at A and finally ends up with epsilon from A to epsilon. Okay, so the removal procedure will be as follows. In step 1, we find out the nullable non-terminal variables which derive the epsilon, and in step 2, for each production capital A to A, we construct all the productions capital A to X, where X is obtained from A by removing one or two multiple non-terminals from step 1, and in step 3 we combine the original productions with the result of step 2 and remove epsilon productions. Okay, so these are the 3 steps. So we will see a problem based on it. So remove the null production from the following. So S to A, S A B or B, and A to B to B or epsilon. So the null production we are having it here. So first we will remove B to epsilon, and if B tends to epsilon, then we'll be having A to epsilon also. So we have to remove these two variables. Okay, so at first we will remove B to epsilon. So after removing B to epsilon, the production set becomes S, ASA or AB or B or small a. Okay, because this production rule becomes null, right? So we specify only A here, and A epsilon B or B and epsilon comma B to B. Okay, so now what we do is we will remove A to epsilon. So after removing A to epsilon, the production set becomes S to ASA, AB or B or A. Then the first A we remove, so we get SA, and the second A we remove, so we get AS, or and removing both the A's we get S. This is how the production rule becomes. Then A to B or B to B. So this is the final production set without the null transition. Okay, so now we move to the Chomsky normal form. So a context-free grammar is in Chomsky normal form if the productions are in the following forms. That is a set of non-terminals to a set of terminal, that is capital A to A and A to BC and S to epsilon. If we have all these three kinds of productions, then we call it as a Chomsky normal form. So this is the algorithm to convert into a Chomsky normal form. Step 1 is nothing but if the start symbol S occurs on some right side, we create a new start symbol S dash and a new production S dash to S. Then in step 2, we remove the null productions using the null production removal algorithm. And in step 3, we remove the unit productions using the unit production removal algorithm. Then in step 4, we replace each productions, that is A to B1 to Bn, where n is strictly greater than 2, with A to B1 of C, where C goes to B2 to n, Bn. So we repeat this step for all the productions having two or more symbols in the right side. So in step 5, if the right side of any production is in the form A to AB, where A is a terminal and AB are non-terminals, then the production is replaced by A to XB and X to A. So we repeat this step for every production which is in the form A to AB. Okay, so now we will solve a problem based on the previous definition for Chomsky normal form. So we have to convert the following context-free grammar into a Chomsky normal form. So this is the set of production rule here. S to ASA or AB and A to B or S and B to B or epsilon. So since S appears in the right hand side, we add a new state S naught, and S naught to S is added to the production set, and this becomes S naught to S. The remaining production rule remains as such. So now we will remove the null productions, that is B to epsilon and A to epsilon. That is, in the place of B, if we substitute epsilon, this becomes a null production. So we have to remove the null productions, right? So after removing B to epsilon, the production set becomes these production set remains the same, but instead of epsilon being here, this moves to the previous production rule, that is A to epsilon. Then after removing A to epsilon, the production set becomes S naught to S, S to ASA, AB A, and substituting instead of this A epsilon, this value is gets removed. So AS, then again if you substitute instead of A, if you substitute epsilon here, we get SA. Then both the A's we substitute epsilon, it is removed. So we get only S. So this is another one protection rule. And A to B or S, this epsilon is removed, and B to B. Okay. So now we will remove the unit productions. Okay, so here what are the unit productions here? S to S and A to B. Okay. So after removing S to S, the production set becomes S naught to S, S to ASA or AB or A or AS, SA, and S value we remove it. Okay, so A to B or S, B to S, B. So after removing S naught to S, the production set becomes S naught to ASA or AB or A or capital AS or SA, and S to ASA or AB or A or AS or SA. Okay, so now we get A to B or S, B to B. Okay, so this is the final production rule after removing S naught to S. And after removing A to B, the production set becomes S naught to ASA or AB or A or AS or SA, S to ASA or AB or A or AS or SA, and A to S or B and B to B. Okay, so this remains the same. So after removing A to S, the protection set becomes S naught to ASA or AB or A or AS or SA, and S to ASA. We again write the same protection rule here also. Then A to B or ASA, okay, or AB. The same production rule applies here because it goes from A to S, right? So we write the same production rule here. Then B to B. So now we will find out more than two variables in the right hand side. So here S naught to ASA, S to ASA and A to ASA violates the two non-terminals in the right hand side. So hence we will apply step 4 and step 5 to get the final protection set, which is in the Chomsky normal form. That is S naught to AX or AB or A or AS or ASA, and S to AX or AB or A or AS or SA, and A to B or AX or AB or A or AS or SA, and B to B or X to SA. Okay. So we have to change the productions S naught to AB, S to AB and A to AB, and the final production set becomes, we introduce another variable Y. Okay. So S naught to AX or YB or A or AS or SA, we repeat the same step for the S also, same production rule for S, and also for A also, then for B to B, X to SA and Y to A. So now we move to the Giribach normal form. So a context-free grammar is in Giribach normal form if the productions are in the following forms. That is A to B into D1 into Dn. So it is a mixing of the set of terminals and the non-terminals. Okay, so where A, D1, D2 are non-terminals and B is a terminal. Then S is the start symbol. So this goes to epsilon. Okay. So this is the algorithm to convert a context-free grammar into Giribach normal form. The step 1 is nothing but if the start symbol S occurs on some right side, then we create a new start symbol S dash and a new production rule like S dash to S. Then step 2 is remove the null productions using the null production removal algorithm, which we have discussed earlier. And step 3 is nothing but we remove the unit productions using the unit production removal algorithm, which we have discussed earlier. And step 4 is that we remove all the direct and indirect left recursion. And step 5, we do the proper substitutions of the production rules to convert it into the proper form of a Giribach normal form. Okay, so this is the last example here. So we convert the following context-free grammar into a Giribach normal form or a Chomsky normal form: S to xy or xn or p, and x to mx or m, and y to xn or o. So here S does not appear on the right hand side of any production rule, and so there are no unit or null productions in the production rule set. So we can skip steps 1 to 3. Okay. So now we move to the step 4. Now after replacing x and s, so we have xy or xo or p with mx or m. So we obtain s2. Instead of x, we substitute mx y or my or mxo or mo or p. Okay, so this is the step here. Then after replacing x and y, xn or o with the right hand side of x to mx or m, so we obtain y to mx of n or mn or o. Okay, instead of x we substitute mx and m. Okay, so the two new productions, capital O to small o and capital P to small p, are added to the production set, and then we came to the final Giribach normal form as the following, that is S to mxy or my or mxc or mc or p, and x to mx or m, and y to mxd or md or o, and capital O to small o and capital P to small p. So in this lecture, we have learned about context-free grammars and the derivation of trees, the left derivation tree and the right derivation tree, and the simplification of context-free grammars, that is removal of unit productions or the null productions, and the Chomsky normal form, and about the Giribach normal form. Okay, so thank you for listening.